What's up, y'all? It's popping in. Steve about to react to this video by Helly. Scene is titled 21 Savage Roasts Modern Women. Okay, in the thumbnail it says, y'all bees, some H's now. Nobody's singing to y'all. Nobody's singing to them. Everybody sell vagina. Ain't nobody to sing for. Let's get the deets. Let's watch.
What's poppin', y'all?
What's up?
Sir Savage the 21st,
Not Sir.
who has finally miraculously been able to leave the country and come back, which is crazy, man. Money will get you far. But he came on to suddenly, I don't know when this came up or how this came up, but he decided to give his opinion on R&B. And he decided to say the following. 21 Savage explained why male R&B singers don't make love songs for women like they used to. And he said, y'all chicks some hoes now. Nobody's singing to y'all. Everybody sell cat. Ain't nobody to sing.
I was wondering why he said nobody's singing to y'all. I'm like, what?
I think I'm going to start off first with the music side, the profitability side, and then we'll go on to, I guess, the hoe side or what people are trying to justify. The first side is the music side. Just looking at market trends, right? When was the last hit song that was serenading a chick? If there was any hit song, it was probably maybe like some heartbreak type love song or something like that, which isn't the same as what singing to these chicks like 21 Savage is talking about. Also, 21 Savage is a big R&B fan, so let's not forget that this dude loves himself some 90s R&B. So if we just look at the profitability of it, what R&B stars are there currently? Especially male stars, few and far between. Better chance being like a K-pop artist or a pop star or a really big rapper. So there isn't any incentive for it in that realm. Even like Trey Songz, who was like the last person I can really remember. Like Jacquees was making good music. What is he even doing? Daniel Caesar, they came up after him. I think he's doing okay, but there's no R&B superstar that I can think of off the top of my head, especially that's hip-hop adjacent, like we used to have them back in the day, and they just... Ty Dolla $ign, maybe, but I think of Ty Dolla $ign more than just R&B, and I wouldn't even necessarily say Ty Dolla $ign is a superstar. Is Ty Dolla $ign selling out arenas by himself without Ye? But don't take that as an indication that I have any less than the utmost respect for Ty Dolla $ign's production and his rapping and his singing. The dude's really talented. So there's that. I don't even think the market wants it, which is number one. Now we'll get into...
I think, before he even finishes, that, you know, R&B has, like, shifted so much to where these R&B niggas, they want to be hood so bad. They want to be rappers. So that's just become the norm, where they are singing with, you know, fucking gold chains on and shit. Well, did y'all see him go? Anyway, they trying to be hard. Like, they trying to sing, but they still trying to talk about how they fucking bitches and da-da-da-da. You know? Like a Ty Dolla $ign, like a Jacquees, like a Chris Brown, talking about these hoes ain't loyal. Like, you know, so shit has shifted so much.
The other side. The other side of it is, are these chicks all selling cat? Obviously no, but one of the things that someone said is, oh yo, back then it was just the same, you just didn't know about it. It's impossible for things to have been the same back then. I will agree that I think people are looking at the past with rose-tinted glasses.
Absolutely.
In the sense that they believe like it was way better. I just think there was more shame in the culture back then, so a lot of stuff went unnoticed or hidden. Whereas now, I guess these chicks that 21 Savage is referring to, they don't even understand the concept of shame or what they're doing is shameful. So they're shameless about it, and they're letting you know, whether it's on social media or wherever else. Which world do you want to live in? The past, when you don't know who's lying and you think you're meeting one person and it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and when she's out at night, she's doing something else completely, and you think it's a whole different person. Or in the modern day, when it seems like there's more of them, but they can't help but tell on themselves on the internet. Now, one thing that I will say, for sure, 100%, is when people are talking about, oh, nah, it's the same. There were hookers back then. Yes, there were. And the problem with it, quote unquote, was that, hey, there's a high barrier to entry of this job. Right? Like, you can't just have something in between your, or lack of something in between your legs. You would have to risk beating, getting robbed, getting your cat taken, being traumatized, being out walking the streets like a streetwalker. You'd have to have a pimp who would likely, you know, do whatever he did to you, whether it was beating you, maybe you had one that didn't beat you. Either way, it was a rough profession or way to generate money. Now, it's far easier. Now there's what I call them diet hoes, like hoe zeros,
Not
no
that.
calories or nothing, halfway hoes. They're selling it, but they're not selling it in person. So the barrier to entry is so low that there's no danger, really. And some of them even like cover their face and stuff. So they can be on stuff like OF and all these other sites and make money without having to actually interact with anyone in person.
Or they can be a pretty girl on Instagram, with their basically they advertising pussy as their Instagram, and rappers will reach out to them to fly them out. It's also very common. A lot of women hoe that way.
Which is obviously going to be way more enticing than the danger that came with actual, lot lizards and the like. Oh yeah, of course, right now there's way more, and there are way more that have attempted it that quit because they couldn't make $1 or they couldn't rub 2 shekels together. Then there were chicks that were like, hey, let me go meet up and sell my body for a night. Now, I don't think I want to do this anymore. So there's way more of that right now. And that's something that's undisputable because the internet didn't even really exist the way that it does back then. And to say otherwise is crazy. Now, what 21 Savage is talking about, I gotta someone get behind. However, we gotta look at 21 Savage and say, if he learned his lesson, he was wifing up, and we will not forget this. He was up there with Amber Rose, who was supporting this type of movement, who was, I wouldn't say she was selling her cat, but I mean, let's be honest. Well, she was a stripper, so who knows what she was doing behind the scenes. But Amber Rose, she was doing that whole slut walk. She had 21 Savage was holding up that I'm a hoe too sign. Man, that pains me to even try to recite. The image just pops up in my head. And I'm just looking at him holding it up with 2 hands. And I think she had a megaphone in front of her mouth. Pause. Actually, that's not gay at all. But yeah, she had the megaphone in front of her. And I just, man, that sight, it's kind of like I erased it from my mind and now it's just reappearing all over again. But perhaps that was a lesson that taught him. He wanted to change things up. Let's also keep in mind, 21 Savage has likely had the majority of his experiences with quote-unquote professionals, not prostitutes, but chicks whose job in life and whose aspiration is to get around rappers, be around rappers.
Yeah, rappers, their perception of reality is very jaded. I'm not saying there are not a lot of, we are in this hoe era and this city girl era where I feel like a lot of women are aspiring to basically come up off of men. So, we are in the sprinkle era, so he's not lying in saying that. I feel like there are a lot more hoes, and I do feel like there's a lot less shame surrounding it. But what was my point? Oh, he's jaded because he's around all of those hoes constantly because he is so popular. So, all of the, I'm not gonna say all, but pretty much most of the women that he comes in contact with, they're just they're trying to fuck with him for money. So these are the hoes that that he's constantly exposed to. So of course he's thinking okay, all women are just like this, but it's no, that's your reality, because that's just what comes with your lifestyle, is that you are attracting those type of women. You're going to events and you're going places where those women, they are in those environments. That's where those women are. So that's pretty much all you're seeing. So, he's not in the real world. He doesn't have a typical experience like the average everyday person. So the average everyday person is going to have a very different experience than him. They're not going to see as many hoes as him. You're going to see a lot more normal girls and girls from around the way, whatever the case. So he needs to shut up because you have a very different lifestyle.
With rappers, get pregnant by rappers, or all of the above. And that type of chick is very determined. So it's very rare that rappers will meet or interact with quote unquote normal chicks. When is it even going to happen? Rappers are always out at night. If a regular chick has a job, she's out during the day. She has to go to sleep at night. Their lifestyle is just diametrically opposed. It's kind of one is nocturnal and one is alive during the day. How would they even meet? And then would they even be interested in each other? That's another thing. But we will have to go and address the point of rap chicks right now, especially when people say, Sexy Red, Megan Thee Stallion, this and that. They're influencing chicks in a negative way, even Glorilla for a bit. I see where they're coming from. Sexy Red has got to be maybe the worst that I've ever seen in my entire life. But we can't act like Lil' Kim did not exist, which is crazy. Now, we didn't have rappers like Sexy Red have their tape leaked on the internet, which some people are alleging she
horrible.
purposely leaked it, which I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt and say she didn't do that. Otherwise, I think she would have tried to monetize it. But Lil' Kim was going crazy. She had those interludes on her song. And you got to keep in mind, this is another time, too. This is almost 30 years ago. This is like nearly 30 years ago that Lil' Kim was doing this. So think about
this
how
weird
much
Kim.
more
What the fuck, girl?
it was perceived to be at that time. She was like the most popular.
And these lashes.
I don't think that's the case that there are worse influences now. I just think that there are so many more influences that it outweighs the one. Like, for example, if your kid is like looking up to Lil' Kim or something, maybe that's just one or two female rappers that are like that, or influencers or famous people. You'd be like, oh, no, they're crazy. Hey, look at this one. But in the modern day, there's probably so many of them that you can't combat all of them. It's like death by 1,000 cuts. So I think 21 Savage he's partially right. I don't necessarily agree with him all the way. I think it's probably monetarily is the reason why a lot of these R&B artists aren't that popular, and the demand isn't really there. And you could make the argument that the demand isn't really there because dudes aren't willing to consume that, and maybe chicks don't even want to hear that. But I don't know why the demand isn't there. I can't tell you for sure. But let me know what y'all think about this.
I mean, there is some validity in what he's saying, but to the hoes' credit, I will say, I feel like over time, some women just became fed up with men being whores. They became fed up with men cheating so openly and frequently that, over time the sentiment has become like, well, fuck these niggas. Like, all right, what's the point in me, dating for love and being loyal to this man and he's slinging dick to all these different people? I might as well get something out of the situation as well. That's why the sprinkle lady is so popular. I just made a whole video talking about her yesterday. That's why I said multiple times in that video that I'm not judging that ideology. I'm not judging that lifestyle. I was just saying that, there are cons that's associated with that life, and that, people should be more open about that. But that's it. But I totally understand that mindset when you have felt like you've been hurt so many times and you see, other women around you constantly being cheated on and hurt, and you just like, the fuck I'm dating for love for? Like, fuck these niggas. I'm a date to get something out of it, or I'm a fuck with a nigga only if he paying me. And then, of course, that is you essentially being a hoe. You being a prostitute because you are fucking with this person. You fucking them just so they can give you money. So I understand it. I mean, it's not right. It's not fair, but life isn't fair. And it's a lot of fucked up shit going on. And sometimes, women want to be hoes. They want to take their power back and be like, I'm not going to just be with this person who's just going to break my heart. And now I'm just left looking stupid. And, he got some ass out of it and went on about his business. I want to get something out of this dynamic as well. So I get it. I understand it. I don't relate to it just because I don't have that in me to live my life that way. And also I'm not in need of money, so I don't need that from people. But I get it. So, yeah, I think he should shut up. And like I said, he's around a lot of hoes just based on his lifestyle. So he's around way more hoes than the average person. So, of course, he's going to have this way of thinking. But anyway, that's my thought. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see y'all the next time. Bye.